Yo, what it do, Hustle Nation? It is Monday morning, so y'all know what time it is. It's time for the Cortez Hustle Show, where we bring you all the facts and truths about how you can get your hustle up. We got a special episode for you today. We're talking personal financial success with a special guest. Mr. Milton Freeman will be in the building, talking about how he's helping people get educated on financial literacy. He's helping people to grow their income and their cash flow, and then also how to protect and pass it down to the next generation. So exciting episode. Do me a huge favor. As you guys are coming into the room, go ahead and comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and or your brand. Just don't share any links, but I would like to give you a free business shout out on the show. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on and smash that share button, guys. We can no longer afford to hoard powerful information like this. So chances are some people that you know on your timeline right now, whether you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, wherever you're checking us out at, somebody you know that follows you on your timeline is looking for some financial tips and strategies that can help them get through this coronavirus quarantine, unstable economy right now. So Bob Crane, welcome to the stream this morning. We are excited to have you. Also known as the Alphabet Man, very solid financial educator in his own rights as well. But go ahead, keep those comments coming. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and we are going to have a blast talking to this financial educator in Milton Freeman. He's even got his kids involved, and we're going to talk a little bit about what his kids are doing, how he's introduced entrepreneurship to them, why that is so important, guys. You do not want to miss this episode. You want to go ahead and smash that share button for me so that everybody can get up this morning with the Cortez Hustle Show. I'm going to go ahead and run my disclaimer this morning, and then on the other side of this break, I'm going to bring out our very special guest. But you guys make sure you keep it locked right here. The Cortez Hustle Show is a copyrighted production of iHustle Media Group. Any unauthorized use of the video, audio, captions, depictions of this show without express written consent of iHustle Media Group is strictly prohibited. iHustle Media Group, a better way to market.
And now back to the Cortez Hustle Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cortez Hustle Show. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor. And we're coming live and direct from the Monetize My Life studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have this book, and you are trying to figure out how do you take your gifts, talents, special abilities and turn them into income, this is the book for you. Monetize My Life, 4 incredibly simple ways to profit from your passions with little to no startup cost. In fact, you might want to grab the Influencer Bundle, because not only will you learn how to turn your gifts into income, you'll learn how to leverage social media, become an influencer, get your message out to the world, and sell your products. All you got to do is go to monetizemylifenow.com and you can get yourself a copy of this little gem right here. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I've been rocking with this young man for, I guess, about 4 or 5 years now. Gotten to know him a little bit, gotten to know a little bit about his children, his family, and what he's all about. And when I tell you, this guy has a heart for the people. He wants to see people win in their personal finances. He understands the power of building generational wealth and what that's all about. And he's got some strategies, he's got some systems, he's got some tools, he's got some game plans that will help you do just that. So I'm going to present to some and introduce to others my good friend, Mr. Milton Freeman. Milton, my friend, hey. How's it going, brother?
It's all right, man. Good morning to you. How are you?
I am well, man. How are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm well too. Feeling good this morning.
Awesome.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
do me a huge favor, man. For those who do not know you, let them know who Milton Freeman is.
Milton Freeman. I am the owner of EFI Financial Education Services. EFI stands for Exercise Financial Intelligence. I am a personal finance coach, certified financial education instructor as recognized by the National Financial Educators Council, a licensed insurance producer, and a notary for people who need certified documents.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Awesome,
Uh,
awesome, man. I love that. So you're covering people all the way around. What drew you to this field and got you on the path that you're on as a certified financial educator?
I was introduced to Primerica Financial Services probably over 20 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I learned some things at that point that I was attracted to when it came to managing debt or eliminating debt.
Mm-hmm.
But as I grew, I went into a career. I mean, I work right now in the technology field by trade.
Gotcha.
But the financial education piece came from some struggles I had, some decisions I made that weren't correct. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the recovery or the education that came with recovering that
Mm-hmm.
that made me bold enough to talk about these things to other people. So
Gotcha.
so the teaching part, officially, I was like, you know what? If I get a credential, that'll legitimize me in the industry when I go and talk to people when I'm in front of organizations. So I did that to, like I said, be legitimate. Just not
Mm-hmm.
just a person coming off the street talking to. I mean, I've been to Kroger and different establishments that had to go to the corporate level to present what I presented to them, and those
Mm-hmm.
things haven't unfolded yet. But having the credentials are what made me comfortable enough to do that. Um,
Awesome.
and the insurance piece, again, I was introduced to it at a young age. I've had experiences. I lost my father when he was. I'm older now than he was when he passed away. So
Wow.
those realities say, this is important, and people need to know, and I need to implement this in my own
Mm-hmm.
life. And so
Gotcha.
there was an unrest I had until I knew that I was doing certain things, or at least
Mm-hmm.
had certain things in place. I couldn't rest. So
Gotcha.
then, and again, the recovery from those hurdles I had that took me basically all of my 30s to recover
Mm-hmm.
from. That by the time
Mm-hmm.
I got 40, I'm 46 later on this month, and
Gotcha.
then the last 5 years have really been the, I guess the sowing, not no the reaping of what was sowed in my 30s. Uh,
Gotcha.
so
Gotcha. Well, happy early birthday, young man. Hey, listen, talk
yes,
real
sir.
quick,
Thank you,
man, about just that. You said it was the financial decisions you made in your youth caught up with you in your 30s and you had to recover. Talk about the importance of people admitting where they are, right? I think this is so huge. People are trying to fix their finances from a false position. They won't just say, hey, man, this thing is bad and I messed it up. I'm going to own it and I'm going to go all the way back to the root and fix it. What was it for you, mindset wise, that finally got you to a place that said, man, let me take my money serious?
um, I had gotten into the real estate game, and
Hmm.
things were going well. But when the market crash hit, that's when I learned how incorrectly I went into the real estate game.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I went into it the wrong way, meaning buying and having all of these mortgages. Um,
Hmm.
if I didn't have a tenant in there, that meant I had to cover that mortgage. You
Hmm.
know, I was in a state where it's payday. I've gotten my full check and I'm operating in the negative with
Mm.
my, accounts. So all of that contributed to, that affected credit, that
Hmm.
affected cash flow, that affected a whole lot of things. So um, it was learning to do things the right way and understanding
Hmm.
where I did it wrong is what
Hmm.
really made me. That was the education piece.
Gotcha.
So in learning that, that's where the idea came that I'm the only person I know. I experienced a foreclosure,
Hmm.
and but I'm the only person I know that experienced that and got the property back.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
that was an education piece. So I
Hmm.
use that as part of my story. I mean, as part
Yeah.
of, you know, if a customer or client of mine is facing that, I can advise them on what's best to
Hmm.
avoid it, or what's the best way if you've gotten to a point that you can avoid it.
Right.
But I got to the part where the sale was made on the courthouse steps,
Mm-hmm.
and still going behind that and working with the attorneys, working with a rep from the mortgage company, and together, I don't know, maybe they like me. I don't know. But whatever it was, it made me, even the reps on the line was saying, man, I've never seen somebody go into that REO.
and get the property back.
And yeah, so, and I actually came out pretty good, man. I mean, the agent, I mean, they signed over everything. I mean, they got the light transferred, the water transferred, and I didn't even know all that had happened
Wow.
until a month came, and I didn't have to pay it because it was paid
Mm-hmm.
already. I was like, okay, well,
Gotcha.
we got the property
Gotcha.
back and still got some utility money back. So
Talk about the mindset, man, because you said something interesting. You said it pretty much took me all of my 30s to get myself educated, to start implementing these strategies. Talk about the mindset of the person that says, hey, I want my credit fixed like this month, but you've been jacking it up all your life. The people who say, man, listen,
yeah,
I want financial freedom, but you've been living in financial bondage for 30, 40 years. And now all of a sudden you're going to be financially free after 30 days worth of reading a book. Or what is the mind? Talk about that mindset that this is a long term journey, man. So speak to that real quick for me.
it was really, man, just a big meal. You got to eat it one bite at a time.
Mm,
It was, I am a man. I've got my manly pride. Uh,
mm-hmm,
it was, can't have my wife living a distressed life, you know.
mm-hmm,
So all of my 30s meant that the fall happened. So part of that was the recovery. Then the second, so yeah, I'm down. And I got to get to a break even point. So
mm-hmm,
stopping the bleeding, I guess, was the first piece.
mm-hmm,
Okay, well, I had 4 properties.
mm-hmm.
Finding ways to let one go, finding ways to make a transaction to get out of another one.
Right.
And so stopping, but the image part was, I've been working. I was working, we were working, and I had a good job. I worked for Xerox for 15 years, and
Mm-hmm.
people knew that about me. So there would have been some degree of embarrassment for people
Right.
to know that I was even dealing with that. But
Mm-hmm.
um, some of it was self-inflicted because, um, like I said, I bought these properties incorrectly, and
Mm-hmm.
there was that time where interest only loans, you could get them. I mean,
Right. Right.
you had to just get, and a year or two went well, man. I mean, I was making money on each one, and
Mm-hmm.
then the collapse hit
Right.
in
Right.
'07, '08, and that hit me directly,
Mm-hmm.
tremendously. I mean, I had equity lines that were frozen. I couldn't access the money anymore, so there were no refi options. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I had tenants for whatever reason. People look for reasons to get out of situations in what
Mm-hmm.
seems to be a crisis.
That's right.
So, um, it affected me, and so
Mm-hmm.
the mindset was, don't drown, man. I mean, can't, don't go like on Rocky Four, man. Don't go down, or Rocky
Don't
Three.
go down.
Yeah,
Don't
don't.
go down.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I can totally relate to that, man. You said a big meal, you eat it one bite at a time. You said something else that was powerful. The first thing you do when you find yourself in the hole is you stop digging.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
You
man.
find yourself in the hole, the first thing you have to do is
Yeah,
stop digging, and you
right.
figure that piece out. But then you also, took everything seriously enough to say, you know what, it's gonna take a minute. And what were some of the things that you were able to say to your wife? Because for all my couples out there, if you haven't figured this out yet, the number one thing that a woman needs is security. And now you're talking about we're upside down. We've got some our lifestyle is changing and all of this kind of stuff. What were some of the things that you were able to say to your wife that says, you know what, it's going to be all right. I need you to trust me, but yeah, we're gonna have to dig our way out of this. How were those conversations?
A part of that, man, it was very little that I could say. I had to
Hmm.
show.
Okay.
If it was, go out and make extra money doing whatever it was in addition to the job.
Hmm.
Doing it put us in a situation where we had to look at things together,
Hmm.
where we hadn't at first.
Okay.
Um, we operated in a way that, um, you know, I let her handle certain things, and I said,
Hmm.
well, I take, all of this. There's just some, like I said, there were certain things manly that I had
Hmm.
to revamp, man, and go
Yeah.
back to the basics, and it's not, and me personally, I had the examples. That wasn't an excuse for me, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
my, my grandfather, my dad, even though he passed away when I was 20, part of my situation was that I was hurt by that, man, and I didn't really want to learn from other people.
Hmm.
That was part of, I don't know, maybe that was the grieving part of it, that
Hmm.
if if I can't learn it from my guy, I'm just gonna go for what I know.
Right.
And
Right.
in doing that, I made some mistakes. So
Yeah.
that's the other part of the mindset. I had to go back to those people that, I had good relationships with my dad's friends,
Mm.
I, and they were professionals. Um,
Hmm.
and a couple of them stayed on me, even though I might not have done what they said do. I
Hmm.
went at the time. I
Yeah.
went back to it. I went back to those things that they told me.
Yeah.
And it was just, um, so the conversation piece was limited as far as what I
Hmm.
could say. Like I said, I had to
Right.
show.
You had to do,
Yeah.
and I think when a woman can see that you're willing to go all out to fix it, right, baby, I
Yeah.
got us in this, and I'm gonna do what I can to fix it. Here's what I could use your support in, but I'm gonna make it happen. So
Yeah.
I can relate to that, man, and I think that's so you talked about pride from both sides, right? You had a pride of you didn't want to take advice from certain people.
Mhm.
You didn't want to admit where you were at some point, but then that other side of pride says, "I'm a man, damn it. So
Right.
we got to fix this, and I'm gonna get out here and fix it. If I have to go cut grass on the side, make a few extra dollars, then that's what's gonna happen. But we're gonna fix it." And here you are. So as a financial educator, we're going to talk about on the other side of this break a few things that you could do personally
Mhm.
to start transforming your lives and a few major areas. And then you guys want to definitely hang around to the end because Milton has got a great program and he's offering some scholarships. So you guys want to hang out for that as well. And we'll get into all of that on the other side of this break. So y'all make sure y'all keep it locked right here.
Hey, good morning, Wealth Champions. Hey, listen, if you want to be financially successful, then you have to do what financially successful people do. And I know there's a few things that all wealthy people have in common. Number one, they understand that building wealth is a team sport. Number two, they understand the power of capitalism and business enterprise. Number three, they love to use systems and leverage. And number four, they all have mentors. My name is H. Cortez, also known as Financial Health Mentor. And for the last 5 years, I've been helping hardworking Americans get all of these things in place with one single membership. If you want to learn more about that, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com. Again, that's myperfectmoneyplan.com. And you're going to get a team of professionals, so you're not building wealth by yourself. You're going to get a system that's going to help you transform your finances. And last but not least, you're going to get some great mentorship to help you execute your game plan. So again, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com, and I'll see you on the other side.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cortez Hustle Show. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle, sitting with my good friend and financial educator, certified financial educator, Mr. Milton Freeman. And we're talking about personal financial success, right? Milton is not unlike a lot of people, because we were not very strongly educated on financial matters. 20s kind of made some mistakes. 30s, we're looking like, oh man, this is some things we got to do to recover. And then 40s, now you start reaping the harvest from those things that you had to recover from. Milton has taken it a step further and said, you know what? This information has changed my life, the execution of this information. So now I want to start teaching it to other people. So we understand, Milton, that the first thing you got to do is admit that you're in the hole, right? But once you admit that you're in the hole and then you stop digging, right? What are some of the first few steps that one could take to start climbing out of that hole?
Education, self-education. Like I said, I was working every day. I mean, I had an old man who I love to this day. He said, Milt, if you get off work and you go home and you don't have to go to a second job, then you got a good job. So couldn't complain about the working. But what I did, man, I listened to audio. I was a technician, riding from account to account, working and repairing Xerox equipment. And I listened to Dave Ramsey for probably 6 or 7 years to get a foundation, a strategy. So I followed him until I got to a place where I saw it working. And I followed those steps, and then I found some things that I could customize to myself. But then, because I didn't particularly agree all the way, not that it didn't work, but it didn't work for me the way I wanted things to go long time, especially when it came to credit, and leveraging credit and debt. So, but that was the first thing I did. There was also a guy local named Rob Wilson that had a show, and I just listened, man, and that's what started the thought processes. And when you asked me about the mindset, like, when I got to start doing what I'm learning, and when I started doing what I was learning, the results are what motivated me to keep learning and keep doing. And so that's self-education, man. Not wasting time listening to. I can't tell you any number one songs or anything like that. That wasn't the stuff that I was listening to, and it wasn't the stuff that I talked about. I was fortunate enough to work with some guys. I was saying I worked at that time for Xerox, and I was working with guys who started working for Xerox in 1974. Okay, I was born in 74. So now I'm 30 years old working with guys who've been with Xerox 30 years. And I found myself holding my own in conversations with them. They, I was accepted in that group of senior guys, old head guys who, and that because they appreciated that I could hold my own with them. Intellectually, clowning around, intelligent humor. So then now we're talking about conversations with them about, a mortgage approach or a 401k approach or credit card approach. So now my conversations are in general about finance, and it's just conversation. And it turned into enjoyable conversation. And it turned into conversations with other people. So I said, and it was one of my friends who said, man, you need to be getting paid for this, man.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And I think a lot of people miss this because people challenge me all the time, man. All you do is talk about money. It's like, yeah, because I ain't got none. I'm trying to get stuff. And what they don't understand is that you get what you focus on, right? And even with, there's two ways that we talk about money, because everybody, that's all they do is talk about money. I don't care who you are, right? Everybody, unless you're financially free, all you do is talk about money. I talk about money on how to get it, how to make it work for me, strategies. Most people talk about money and they sense that they don't have it. You want to go to a ball game and the first thing comes out of your mouth is, oh man, I can't afford them tickets. right? You still talking about money. You just
Yeah.
don't realize you're talking about money. Your kids say, "Hey, I need a few dollars to go to Six Flags." Well, I can only give you so much, and you're gonna have to pack a lunch to take with you, right?
Hmm.
You're still talking about money. You're still focusing on money. Kanye West dropped a line in one of his songs that changed my life. He said, "Having money is not everything. Not having it is." And I
Yeah.
come from being a fourth born of 6 children, raised by a single mom on welfare. When you don't have money, it seems like that is all you can think about is how to get it and why you don't have it and that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
you started with the renewing of your mind on some finances. And I'm the same way, man. I can't tell sports stats. I can't, even when I was coaching youth basketball, I didn't know who was in the playoffs because I would go coach my kids.
Yeah.
And then the minute practice was over, my mind is back on how am I going to build this wealth for my family. So
Yeah.
after you really started renewing your mind and you start soaking up the information, different strategies, different approaches, because that's what a lot of people don't understand is there's no one way to get rich. There's no one way to build wealth. I mean, there's so many strategies out there. You found something that was working for you. What was one of the first things you implemented from when you got to a place where you say, okay, now I'm learning all this stuff, but I got to start doing it? What was one of the first things that you did when it was time to start doing
Paid off a car.
it?
Um, it was a debt elimination piece and freed up. At the time that was $365.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, behaviorally, doing things that would accelerate the payment of that car. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and so now, what can I do with this money? Freed up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was the first thing. But it was. I was saying a minute ago, I couldn't rest though because I didn't feel like I was doing everything with what I had. Even before,
Mm-hmm.
even if, without going out to try to get more, am I doing the best in everything with what I have? And that answer was no. So maximizing my financial capabilities was the
Mm-hmm.
realization that I had. And that's the first thing I teach as far as the coaching. Are you maximizing your financial capabilities? Well, what does that mean? It means you first realize we're in a capitalist society.
Mm-hmm.
So there are three ways, at least, legally, that you
Mm-hmm.
can do this. Now, if you're working every day, which most of my customer base is, I mean, that's my niche, that's my target, people who work every day. And they can be low
Mm-hmm.
income, they can be high income earners. But if you're working, you're still not maximizing your financial capabilities because you need a business to save as a tax shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then now, and I don't mean having a business where you own the job. You can, that's fine. That's a good place to start. We all have to start. And I learned
Mm-hmm.
this from through you. I met Marquell some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Marquell say there wouldn't be an iPhone 10 if there wasn't an iPhone 1.
Right.
So
Right.
get started, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, so I got started, man, and so got the business. And one of the guy who was doing my taxes at the time, he introduced me. This is again my early 30s. He said, Milton,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a 401k? And I was, no, I don't. I just rather keep my money.
Mm-hmm.
So he taught me what it meant to have one, tax
Mm-hmm.
wise and retirement wise and compound interest wise.
Mm-hmm.
So I respect him to this day, and I've had him in a situation like you and I right now talking, except my kids were the audience. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I know we'll talk about that in a minute, but he he got me. Now that I think about it, that really struck a nerve in my thought process
Mm-hmm.
and maximizing my capabilities financially. And
Yeah.
then talk about investing. I went to get my taxes done another year, and it's been a long time because one of my kids were in the car seat carrier. So
Mm-hmm.
that was 15 years ago or 18 years ago. I just can't remember which kid it was.
Which kid it was,
Yeah.
right?
So he said, "Man, people fuss and complain about Bush, but we don't have that problem because we're doing what we're in a position to capitalize on these tax cuts. So he spoke to me in a way that made me feel like I belong in that businessman conversation.
Right.
So even though then it wasn't, at that time I did have the properties. So he's saying the way that you have them now, that makes you're a default. Now you're a businessman. And so we can do this structurally for your taxes, and gave me that education. So that was prior to the fall, but the seed was planted that, okay, I belong. I felt like I belong because of
Right.
what he taught me.
Right.
And
There's some
spoke to
other
me.
conversations being had because of your position within capitalism. And I think so many people miss that part. It's like, man, there's two worlds. There's conversations that go on when you are an employee only. And do not take this the wrong way. We're not bashing anybody with a job. But
Because I
there's
work
the
every day. I go to work every day.
right.
Yeah.
The conversations are limited. But when you jump over that line and you add a business to what you're doing, there's a whole nother set of conversations, and one builds on top of the other. Like you said, you went from job only, now you are investing in real estate, so that makes you an investor or a business person. Now your tax preparer is talking to you differently.
Totally
He
different.
he don't have that conversation with people who just come get the straight 1040 done because there's nothing else. You don't have any deductions. You don't have a business. We don't even need to go into any other conversation based on where you are positioned in this economy. But when he saw that, hey, you own real estate, you've got properties, you got a certain ambition. Now let's take the conversation down this road. And that is critically important. The other thing is, I can imagine that you wouldn't talk to somebody at some big box tax preparer, wasn't one of the H&R or the Jack. You probably pay more than the average person pays for a tax preparer.
Man, I did, man. And I was so mad. Like, oh, man, I sat here for 35 minutes and it cost me $465. But he said, man, and it wasn't because I challenged him at the time. He was like, look, man, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. He counted my sheets. I guess what it takes to do the taxes. He said, man, I get people in here most of the time it's one sheet. But the fact that you got 4, 5, I had a bunch of sheets, however forms or however he does it. He was like, man, you're doing the right things, because this many sheets means that you got
some
things in
assets
place.
over here. You got some
Yeah.
you got some other things going on.
Yeah. And so and then I learned that that's part of what they pay. But for me now to look at it, it's I couldn't afford not to pay it. If that makes sense. I mean, at this day and where I am in that same thing, that's why he's the guy that I put in front of my kids. With getting their LLC set up. But
and that's critically important, because you in your haste to try to save a dollar, we call it in our community, right? I grew up in the hood called Wells, and here outside of St. Louis, man, they say you stepping over dollars to pick up pennies, right? You're talking about saving the difference between, if you go to H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt or one of the big box, you're gonna pay $300, $350. You pay an extra $100, right, and got $1 million worth of gain. Right?
Yeah,
and that's the thing that people are missing when they're trying to be cheap, you're trying to cut corners, right? I had another good mentor say there's two things that I would never outsource, and that's my honey and my money. So you got to get the right people in your corner helping you with your money, even if it costs you a little bit more, even if you have to pay in advance. Because I know that's one of the reasons that the H&R Block model works, is because they're going to do the work and they're going to take the money out of the back end. If you had to go and drop $300 down before they started your return, then it'll be a different story for them. But you said you got your kids set up with an LLC, they're running their business. We know now, because you said it was adding entrepreneurship to the job changed the game for you. And I know you're all about building legacy. But talk about the importance and the mindset of, okay, I'm going to get my kids in business, get them an LLC rolling. What was it that made that shift in you that you said, not only am I going to do this, but I'm going to get them involved at an early age?
That whole, people say, I want to give my kids what I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
It's levels to that. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean a certain pair of shoes or a certain gaming system. It mean,
Mm-hmm.
in my case, it was the education. Now, I didn't get a chance to get it because, like I said, my grandfather was a great guy. I mean, but he grew up in an era where I love and respected him because of what he accomplished under the conditions that he
Mm-hmm.
grew up. I mean, he was born in the Great Depression and endured the Jim Crow South, and was a point of stability for me and all my cousins and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So grandchildren, for his, great grands. I mean,
Right.
he did that. Um, my dad passed away when he was 44. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I still, and that's why I go by the name Milt Jr. on Facebook, or even in professional presentations, because that's that's just my. When I say Milt Jr., that means I'm named after my dad,
That's right.
and that and I don't have that. I'm proud of that. So the things that I did learn from him up until 20 years old, although I blew it, it wasn't because I wasn't introduced to it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I would have learned more, um, you know, had he lived longer.
Right.
So I
Right.
felt cheated or shortchanged at some time. I had to get over that. But
Mm-hmm.
getting my kids involved that's pretty much the whole why. What's your why? And my why is that I know it can happen. Something can
Mm-hmm.
happen to me. And
Yeah.
so at 7 years old, I'm like, hey man, what do you to my daughter, when I don't care how young they were, why did you do that? You know, I need to know what you were thinking about when you did that. And that's
Yeah.
been the basis of me raising them to say, what is your thought process? Why are you doing
Mm-hmm.
that? That's not the way
Mm-hmm.
to think. I need to know that you can handle this a different way if I'm not with you.
Right. Right.
So the business thing was they were both too young to earn wages,
Mm-hmm.
but you're never too young to make a profit.
That's right.
So
That's right. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You gotta have to say that again because I don't think people understand. You're too young to earn wages, right?
at the
At
time,
the
yes,
time,
yeah.
but you're not too young to earn profits. Talk about that a little bit. Unpack that a little bit.
Well, you know, you, you can't go work at McDonald's. You're not old enough. You can't go work at Popeyes and Publix or at the movies where all your friends go. And I'm not gonna let you spend $100 on some earbuds. I'm
Mm,
not gonna spend $400 on a gaming system. But what we will do is spend money on something that will help you make money.
mm,
So what are you going? But I'm not gonna initially. I'm not gonna pay for it for you. What are you gonna give up to get it? So
mm,
we sat down. We talked about everything that they have or that we have, and we bought. And I explained to them that you know from what we're looking at, the money that we're spending money on cable TV. We all make it if we don't have cable at first. No, because I gotta watch this. No, we can't do that. So we went around somewhere else and we got to the list again. It came back to cable TV
mm,
because you can't live without the lights. You can't live without heat. You can't live without clothes. So you want to eat. So you want to watch cable while you eat. Is that what you're saying?
mm-hmm,
Yeah, yeah. So then, and something that I did that my dad didn't do. My dad never. He gave me no pressure at all as far as contributing.
mm-hmm,
I didn't know what he made. I didn't know what the house note was. I didn't know what the light bills cost. I didn't know any of that.
mm-hmm,
And I respect him for creating an environment for me to just focus on school.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
but the difference is because of what happened to him, and I know that, so I've made my kids more aware of those things at a younger age.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's take this cable meal money, and what do you want to do? We looked at T-shirts. We looked at other business, just several different things. I mean, the paparazzi, and that was a hot thing, And through being connected, I mean, you and I had connected through you. I met Evan. I met Sir,
Sir
and
Marker do. Yep. Shout out to the Black Billionaires Club. Making it happen, man. Making it
yeah.
happen.
And so I showed them. I drew the lines for them. And I met this guy because I met this guy. I met this guy because I met this guy. It started with you and your presence online with your financial traffic report. And
Yep.
and that was me searching for stuff to listen to myself on my way to work. I would sit in my driveway, pull up YouTube videos, something 20, looking for the ones that were 20, 30 minutes that would last me the ride.
Right. Your
And
whole commute.
yeah. And then sometimes there were shorter ones that I would just, if I see they were going to come consecutively, then I would listen to them. And you came under the ones that would come under both categories. You had some that were long, some that were shorter, but following you, like I said, I just drew the line from being connected to them. So we got them in a business, and both of them said, "Man, this got to be better than having a job." We took the cable bill money, so we don't have cable right now. I mean, we don't have cable TV right now, and that's been 5 years. So
Wow.
it was we took money that we were giving away to a cable company, and now we bought something that we can sell. So you shifted your money, the use of your money, and so I gave you a gift that can continue giving if you keep working it.
Yeah.
So now they're wholesaling. I mean, we can talk about that later, but they've evolved and grown into the point now they're putting other people in business. So
Yeah, I wanna touch on something, and not to make this about me, but there's so many people who've got the magnetic personality. There's so many people who have a message that they want to communicate, but they're letting fear keep them from getting from the camera and putting their message out. I had no idea what the financial health traffic report was going to become. I just said, man, I'm learning some information that's blowing my mind. I've got to share it. And I shared it. And then here we are 5 years later. You said because of me, you connected to Marquell. Because of me, you connected to Evan. Because of that connection to Evan, Sir Markadu now got you into business with your kid. You never know the impact that you have if you would just follow your intuition. If you just listen to the creator saying, hey, go down this road, what I tell you to do, it's going to be scary, but do it anyway. But there's somebody 5 years from now whose life is going to change because you were obedient. So
yeah,
do not miss that.
Right.
But I love that you said there's levels to giving kids what you didn't have, right? Yeah, you didn't have the best game system, so you want them to have the PS5 or whatever the number they're on. Yeah, you didn't have the latest dig, so you want to make sure that they have Polo and Nike and all that stuff. But you also didn't have a business, so you made sure that your kids have a business, and I think that is just super, super, super dope. But now you said your kids have evolved. They started out as retailing products, and I've seen their e-commerce site. In fact, I got my black soap and my lemongrass shea butter, man, for my beard, man. That stuff smells so good. But now you said they're evolving. So talk about that transition and how you helped them to see that. And then there's another point that I want to bring out based on that.
Well, it was the retail part. They were limited. You have to, my son was in the 6th grade or 7th grade, so he only had so much of a reach. Going to school, the teachers, he's a good student, so the teachers, they loved him anyway. So just now he's a young black man with a business, got his face on his product and branding, and they supported him. They supported him. A lot of my friends supported him. Alumni from where I went to high school supported him. And but then I had to start to move the product. I had to start taking it to work with me. And because, like I said, he's 6th grade. I mean, those kids are not going to have the money to buy that stuff.
Right.
So So in taking it to work and telling people, hey, this is my kid's business, here's their card, here are their pictures, here are their products. They like.
Mhm.
So just over time, the repeat customers started coming. Um, the like I said, it just started growing. The referrals started growing, and then we landed a huge retail commercial deal,
Mhm.
and it put us in a position where now we see that the retail sales are good, but is the wholesale game is totally different. I mean,
Mhm. Mhm.
and now they had the volume to wholesale.
Yeah.
They had the revenue from saving some of the money from retail to
Mhm.
buy in, because you have to buy bulk and you have to buy big to
Yeah.
get the marginal profit
Mhm.
um, in wholesaling. So they understood that. Now, thankfully, they understood it.
Yeah.
So I have to thank them for accepting the things that I've taught them
Mhm.
versus rejecting it, because I've seen people reject what their parents try to teach them.
Yeah. That's huge, man. It's huge because evolution is the key. It's
Yep,
like, okay, your children, I know your daughter, what, 19?
she will be
She will be,
next month.
and your son is younger than her. But just for them to understand entrepreneurship and that it is an option. That's one of the things that I try to get above anything else, whether they make a ton of money or not. I just want you to know entrepreneurship is an option, right? And then they got in and they saw that not only is it an option, but for us, it's probably better than having a job. So they start
Mhm.
retailing. Then all of a sudden they say, hey, what's the next step up from retailing? It's wholesale. Right. So now they're putting other kids on. Hey, listen, you can have your business like this too. You can have your e-commerce site like this too, and you can get your products from us, and we're gonna help you become successful, because if you making money, you're gonna keep buying your products from us. So that's a whole nother thing, man. That peer-to-peer education and that peer-to-peer examples. I always talk about the positive aspect of peer pressure, right? We like to
Right.
talk about the negative, right? Don't hang with this person because you're going downhill, but we never really say hang with this person because they got it going on and you can learn something from them, right? And your children are becoming a great example of that. Israel said, "Hey, I found out about Cortez via Evan," so it went in the opposite direction, right? I've been
Mhm.
blessed since 6 years ago, just being exposed to the knowledge, right? And that's what it's all about. So now your kids got products, their faces are on the products, they're doing the retail end and the wholesale end, and all of that, man. And that's a wonderful thing that they can be examples like that for their classmates. But we're running out of time, brother, and I know you've got some scholarship offers that you want to talk about. So let's talk a little bit about the membership that you have that can help people in certain areas of their finance. So break that down and let's talk a little bit about that scholarship offer as well.
Okay. The acronyms. Number one, my business is called EFI, which is Exercise Financial Intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big part of my personal practice. I ask
Mm-hmm.
people, you know, I can with personal finance, I can ask the questions. I don't have to answer it, because I'm going to ask the question in such a way that when you answer it, you'll know if that's intelligent for you to continue doing or not behaviorally.
Mm.
So I have since partnered with an organization that's making wealth, make wealth real.
Mm-hmm.
So EFI to MWR. So exercise financial intelligence so that you can make wealth real.
Wow.
So the thing that put me onto that was, number one, as we talked about my financial capabilities, maximizing financial capabilities. And I mean, I've worked 2 jobs. I've done that, man, and you just can't do it. Physically, it's going to wear
Mm-hmm.
on you.
Yeah.
But in this case, one of the things that the first thing I get when I say I'm a financial education instructor, you fix credit.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I fix my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Personally, but I know most people don't have the patience to do what I did in fixing my own. But MWR is an organization that offers credit repair. It offers an immediate that business advantage that I talked about earlier in maximizing your financial capabilities.
Yeah.
That business impact on your taxes, the credit repair, the debt elimination that I spoke about that I learned through Primerica, and the investing piece.
Yeah.
So that's just a huge 4-in-1 that has really been advantageous to me from the service aspect and the opportunity, the income aspect.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing, man, is as at EFI is sponsoring individuals who would like to move into that space. Most, people have dreams of owning businesses, whatever they may be. I want to open up this shop, or I want to, whatever it may be. I could call out all kinds of things. And you're not necessarily in a place to do it right now. It's just on your plate. But what we're sponsoring is that that membership that it costs to buy into an organization that makes you a business owner. It gives you the tax advantages. It impacts your bring home pay, or they teach you how to impact your bring home pay. You can submit your credit reports and your spouse for one low fee. That I found that membership part alone for the services was cheaper than my rate to do a personal finance coaching session. So it was, you choose which one you want to do. I mean, we can do both, but either way, if you sign up with me, you're going to get this service because that cost is going to be included in the package that I present now.
Nice.
So,
nice.
But if you like what you're hearing and you want to teach other people, it's helping me evolve more now because I have the LTE thing I'm going to bring about, which is the Learn, Teach, Earn program. So
I love that.
So the LTE is about, learn it and you can teach it and you can earn while you teach. You can have an impact while you earn an income. So we're sponsoring that membership is to get started as a $228 membership. But what we're doing is people who are interested and are going in and buying in, then we're sponsoring on half of that. We're reimbursing half of, so we'll call it $230. We're giving them back $215 just as an incentive or as a motivational piece to, maybe you hesitant about pulling the trigger and you just need that confidence, and there are some qualifying things, we'll do some qualifying because we don't want people to just accept it and not use it.
Right.
But that's what the sponsorship or scholarship is about.
I love it.
And I appreciate the opportunity to share it today.
So if you are in the market and you understand what we've been talking about today, that a home-based business repositions you in capitalism to transform your finances at a faster rate than if you go it alone without a business, then I want you to comment sponsor me, right? And basically what that will mean is I'll put you in touch with Milton and he will kind of ask you some questions and see where you are. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a business, right? We're sponsoring you into a business that says, hey, you're going to get your personal finances worked on by a team of professionals. And then you're going to have myself and Milton coaching you on how to earn money and build a brand as a financial educator so we can bring this information to more and more people. Now, you can't say, hey, sponsor me, but I don't want to do the business. That's not how it works. What we are trying to do, my mission is to empower people economically through financial literacy with an emphasis on personal brand development and entrepreneurship. The way I do that is by training up an army of financial educators who are spreading this message of economic empowerment using a home-based business as one of the foundational components. So it's a great opportunity for you to partner with us in a program that's going to help you personally, financially, but also teach you how to make an impact in the lives of others as it relates to their finances. So I'm super excited that you are doing that, Milton. And I've got some great courses and some great training to help those who want to help themselves. So comment, sponsor me, or inbox Milton or myself if you don't want to comment publicly, and we can have a conversation offline about some of those qualifiers. But we are running up on the top of the hour, brother. This was super fast. It's flown by. But
Yeah, we gotta
any
do it again.
yeah, any last words that you want to share with the people as it relates to getting on the right track financially?
Getting on the right track. I just want to tell people to value your money.
Mm,
You know, if you don't know how to value your money, then think about what it took for you to get the money and value that.
mm,
Especially pre-pandemic conditions. I mean, you're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get to work at 8 o'clock, you know, and then you're working all day and you're getting home and it's 7 o'clock, and you look forward to payday as a way to reward yourself. Um, and in doing that, we give it away. Um,
mm,
sometimes we need to hold on to that for ourselves and plan with it, and we don't value that because we don't know how. So,
mm,
if just value your money is what I want to say. That's the last words. And again, if you don't know how to value it, remember what you had to do to get it, or think about what you have to go through to get it back when you give it away. And
mm,
you value your money. That's because the part of my coaching practice is based on the paradigm shifts. And
mhm,
how, I don't know what your relationship was with money growing up. I don't know how, what grandmama taught you. I don't know what mama taught you, or, what you learned from Uncle Ray. But all of that impacts you, and it
mhm,
influences you. And sometimes you have to stop and think for yourself.
mhm,
Is this tradition helping me, or if this way that I've always thought about money, is it getting me to the right place? And
mm.
sometimes the answer is no.
Yeah,
And when we got to face the truth when the answer is no. So
absolutely.
value,
Absolutely.
value your money.
Tell them how to get in touch with you.
You can contact me on Facebook at Milt Jr. That's my Facebook tag. I spoke about that earlier, Milt Jr., but my name, Milton Freeman, is also there. My website is efifinancial.net. That's EFI as in exercise financial intelligence, efifinancial.net. My phone number, if you'd like to call me, is 404 682 6675. You can book a consultation from my website, or you can send me a text if you want to talk and speak. 404 682 6675.
Here you go, 404-682-6675. Text him keyword sponsor me if you're interested in knowing more about the program that he wants to sponsor you to, get you some information on that. Yeah, I love what you're doing, brother. I love how, like they say about the Alamo, right? Texans took a butt kicking at the Alamo and they turned it into an attraction, and they make millions of dollars every year, right? This is what we want you to do with your personal finances, right? Some of us have taken a butt kicking in our personal finances, not because we're not good people, not because we don't have the will and we don't work hard, but because we were never taught. But you
Right.
can take that same situation, turn it around, and use it to make millions of dollars in your own life for sharing that story with other people. Another great financial educator that I like to follow is Lynn Richardson. She
Hmm.
talks all the time about it wasn't until she got to a place where her girlfriends were asking her to go out with them or something. And she's like, I'm just going to keep it all the way a buck with y'all. I ain't got no money to be going out, and y'all don't either. And they all was like, we glad you said that, because we don't. We just trying to put up, make it happen, because, we just putting up this front and this facade. And it was when
Man,
she got
and
to that
ladies,
place. Yeah.
Yeah,
Once you
ladies
got
need
to
to
that,
know that guys talk about that. when the fellas are talking, we talking about you ladies trying to front. I mean, I'm just on Instagram and making it look like that
yeah,
same thing you just said. We talk about it. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. So get to a place where you can admit where you are, right? If you were trying to get somewhere and you was going to use your GPS to get you there, the first thing the GPS wants to know is where you are right now.
mhm,
And if I'm in St. Louis trying to get to California, but I put in my GPS, I'm in Tupelo, Mississippi, the GPS is going to give me a route from Tupelo, Mississippi to California. How many of you guys know that's not the same route from St. Louis to California? Some of you guys are putting in your GPS, your financial GPS, you're putting in a fake place
right.
because you won't admit to yourself where you are. If you put the real place into the GPS coordinates, they will map out a route. They will give you multiple detours and really get you there. But you got to be honest with yourself. So,
Mhm.
Milton, my friend, it's been an honor and a privilege to have you on today, brother. You dropped some real gems on me. That thing, man, with the kids, there's levels to giving your kids something you never had. That's a beautiful analogy, and I can't wait to continue to share and expound upon that. But that's it for today's show, guys. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Just remember, man, hit that share button if you're downloading the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher. Share us with a friend, man. There's everybody, believe it or not, are looking for solutions to help them improve their personal finance. I don't care what you think they look like. They look good. They smell good. Chances are they're struggling and they're dying inside and they're looking for answers. They're looking for podcasts like Milton was looking for 5 years ago when he found the Financial Health Traffic Report, and that helped him on his journey to get here. So until we talk to you guys next time, we want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up.
Yes, sir.